Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast for a very special edition. I am flying solo this evening, and it has come through very divine orchestration. I originally did have a guest lined up for this week, but she has fallen ill, and I was considering just skipping the week, and my guides were very insistent that I still have the show because there is much to discuss. So I am so happy to be here with you all, looking at the chat. So lovely to see all of you here. Thank you, Suiterbug, for doing some of the modding for me. You're always fantastic. So tonight we are going to discuss the technology of the darkness. And there are a few synchronicities as to why this topic is coming across my path and to have the guidance to really kind of share it with all of you. And part of that is astrologically, we have a lot going on. We're finishing off 2021 with a lot of intensity, to say the least. But there is also a lot to discuss in the importance of the darkness and understanding exactly what it is. So much of the darkness is feared by us because we don't really understand exactly what it is. And that's why we fear it, because we don't know it. There's a lot of uncertainty around the darkness, but truly when it comes to the darkness, we're talking about the void. We're talking about stillness. We're talking about the feminine energy. And we're also talking about the cosmic womb. So much of our journey is about discovering who we truly are and discovering what we're truly capable of. But the reality is that very much of what we're seeking is waiting for us in the darkness. My guides were very insistent here, higher self, all these downloads this week and over the weekend about understanding that the times that we are in right now, as we're closing out another year of what seems to be very, very interesting times, is that the only way to truly transform our current reality is to face the darkness that is held within each and every one of us. As above, so below, as within, so without. And what we're seeing right now, we like to project a lot of good versus evil, bad versus good, and truly, it's very disempowering when we do that because we're not in acceptance of all of creation. And we're also not in acceptance that that is simply just a macrocosm of the very microcosm within us. If we see it outside of us, we absolutely hold it within us to some capacity. So at this time, given that we're coming up to a solar eclipse this weekend on the 3rd and 4th, our last solar eclipse in Sagittarius, which is on the south node, which means we're looking at releasing of karma, releasing of old ways. And Sagittarius represents a lot of our beliefs. It represents what we know. It represents how we see the future. And a lot of that has transformed over the last 18 months that the nodes have been in Gemini and Sagittarius. And when we think about what a solar eclipse actually is, it is about eclipsing the light. It is about bringing in the darkness. And there is so much power waiting for us over the next few months because we're coming into very intense transition, I want to say even planetary alignments, which is nothing to be scared of at all, but there's intensity there for growth. There's a lot of Plutonian energy, which Pluto represents our death and rebirth, our transformation. It's about going into the subconscious. It's about going into the darkness and pulling out the truth that has been hiding there. And it's also about dissolving a lot of the illusions. And we have Venus, the planet of love, the planet of feminine energy, the planet of relationships, the planet of values, the planet of beauty. We have that planet about to make an exact conjunction with Pluto. She's already very close there. And so what are we seeing? We are seeing this deep potential for transformation, getting to the truth of it all, going into the darkness of our relationships, of our own sense of worth, self-value, all things that we value, and really going in there and healing it. But how are we healing it? Well, what sign is Venus and Pluto occurring in? It's happening, this conjunction is happening in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn represents our authority. It represents also our greatest authority in this life, at least when we first come in here, are our parents, right? Cancer represents the child. Capricorn represents our parents. And so Capricorn represents our authority. It represents commitment. It's all about doing the work, not cutting corners. It's about structure. And I often wondered, for all of you, you know, I have been wanting to design this inner child course, an online course that anyone can take at their own leisure, on your own time, go through it as you need to help you on understanding the true value of the inner child journey, of healing the inner child, reconnecting to that part of you. And it wasn't until this summer in June that I finally forced myself to sit down and start organizing all the content for it. And I made some really good headway through the summer and into early fall. But then I had my surgery, my eye surgery in October. And I was not anticipating the slowness of the healing journey, which is beautiful in its own way. In many ways, the beauty of this entire show is that I literally had to have my eyes closed. I had to be okay in darkness. I had to be willing to not see everything that was around me, which forced me to go within and become much more aware of everything that was within. Very interesting synchronicity coming up. So as my eyes have healed in the last couple of weeks, because my content was pretty much already created, all I needed to do was record it, which in its own self is work, but record it, edit it, and all of that. And my God, a huge nudge that I needed to get it out before the solar eclipse, before the Venus and Pluto conjunction, before December, so to speak. And so I'm happy to announce that my inner child course is now live. I have completed it. I have to say I'm extremely proud of the course. It is very thorough. It is not a simple click on, watch a couple of videos, do a few exercises. I have created it where there are over 12 hours of video content in there for you to learn from. There are 9, I think there are 9 modules, each module having anywhere from 8 or 9 videos in it. I have a guided meditation that I created just yesterday on taking you through the journey of reconnecting you to your inner child. This is probably the most difficult step of the entire journey, is how do I actually reconnect with my inner child? When I've had client sessions with many of you, this has been the biggest stumbling block. And I didn't realize it until this summer. And so recently, with many of you, as you've been booking your inner child sessions with me, I've been taking you through a guided journey, just kind of off the cuff while we're in session to help you reconnect. And watching the emotional impact it has on each and every one of you, watching how connected you've actually become through that, made me realize that this meditation may be the most important aspect of the entire course. And so while creating it, there were a lot of emotional tears on my end. I'm very particular with the music that I choose for all my meditations. And this meditation that's in there is probably my best meditation to date. And so this course directly is created and released at this time for any of you who are wishing to take that journey. But what's important here right now is that we absolutely face our own darkness and be okay with going into our own darkness. So again, the reason why we fear this darkness is because we truly just don't understand it. We don't know it. And I truly believe that's by design in this reality that we live in. If you think about from the time of our childhood, there are so many ways that we've been programmed to be scared of the dark, to not be okay with it, whether it's movies, different kinds of media, or just anything, just not okay with being in the dark. And the technology of the dark has been around since the beginning of time. Nothing has a greater origination point than the darkness. All things are birthed from the dark. Light is birthed from the dark. Nothing comes before the darkness. And so it makes sense that we are in deep fear of going to the very essence of where we all began. We have done a really good job through our lives, all of the experiences that we've had, by disconnecting ourselves from who we truly are and what we truly are based off of our own origination point. And this is why it's so scary to go back to the very beginning of it all. And this is why the inner child journey is so important and so powerful. I have yet to see any sort of healing that eclipses the inner child journey. It has provided more than I have ever known was available to me in my own understanding of personal power, personal authority, my intuition, my gifts, my life purpose. It's all wrapped up in there. So taking the path of moving into the darkness, being able to face our fears, doing our shadow work, going to the places that we have been avoiding all of our lives is not an easy path to take. It is not an easy path to take. However, it is a very rewarding path, and it is probably the most rewarding path. It's why when we look through a lot of our scripts, our texts, that there's so much there that draws us into the darkness. When we think about the cave, going into the cave, and then we look at our own technology of what we're given in this body, and we think about our pineal gland. The pineal gland works so optimally in the darkness. It is literally designed to see in the dark. So, when it comes to choosing about how you're going to enter the darkness, you have two choices. One, you can go on your own volition, at your own free will, and enter the darkness on your terms. Or you can wait for a crisis or for life to push you in. Those are pretty much the only two options you have. And there's no judgment on either way. Entering the darkness, it doesn't matter, so to speak, but we do have a choice. We do have a choice. And given what we're all facing in our world today, I can't think of anything better than for us to actually face our fears. With how much fear porn is being pushed out to all of our psyches right now about all things, both sides of the spectrum, both sides of the fence, both sides of the polarities. The amount of fear that is being manufactured can only be combated by our willingness to face that fear, to look it dead in the eyes and say, I see you. I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's dance. There's a beautiful, beautiful aspect of the darkness that we don't fully understand. And I'm not sure any of us will fully understand it by the time we leave this life. But when I think about my own journey, when I think about how the times that I've had to, when I think of darkness, of course, darkness can be found through just completely turning out all lights and literally physically making it completely dark around you, which I think is beautiful. And in fact, I am really considering doing a dark room retreat in 2022. And I want to document my journey through this dark room retreat, where you spend multiple days in a dark room. You eat in the dark, you sleep in the dark, you shit in the dark. Everything is done in the dark. There's no escaping the darkness. There's no escaping you. But here's the beautiful thing about the darkness. It's not just in that we find it in our stillness. We find it in our meditation. When we close our eyes and we take ourselves and transfer ourselves into the void, we allow ourselves to go into the void and be still and be in that place where everything begins and where everything ends. It is the everything and nothing all at the same time. And when we go there, we truly understand that the very connection we have been searching for is waiting for us right there. Never have I truly ever felt as connected as I have been in my silent meditation retreat 13 years ago, where I sat in silence for 10 days, wasn't able to speak, wasn't able to do exercise, wasn't able to talk to anyone, look at anyone, read anything, write anything. I was forced to be with myself. Now, I wasn't in total darkness, but there were a lot of things that were removed from me that are very similar to being in the dark. And in this meditation, I realized that as I've told you guys many times, I left my body. I was simply energy. And I understood that there was nothing that I needed to change. I understood what it meant to be in the void of the polarities. I understood that I was perfect exactly as I was. Everything was perfect. And when we talk about our realities, can we actually look at our reality today on December 2nd, 2021, that everything is perfect exactly as it is? We do not need to change anything. How do you find the beauty in a reality you are in so much resistance to? You cannot. And this is why you must let go and enter the void. The feminine energy is also representative of the void. When we look at our yin-yang energy, the black represents the feminine, the white represents the masculine energy, which is held within all of us. And the feminine energy is all about the mystery. It is about the darkness. But there's beautiful aspects within that darkness. It's where birthing happens. It's where the creation starts. It's where there is no form yet. And so every time that we go into the darkness, every time we have the courage to face what we're not willing to face, or face our fears, our own illusions, our own deceptions, all of our avoidance. When we are willing to face that, we are met with a connection to self and to everything that ever was and is, that goes so far beyond anything we ever know in this present day and time. And when we're there, this is where the rebirthing does occur. You guys are familiar with what it means to receive a download, what it means to have that aha moment, that knowing without being told anything, just coming into your awareness, birthed out of nowhere. It always comes from a place of being in the flow. Possibly even being in stillness in a way that the way I kind of see stillness is you're not in resistance to anything. You're simply there. You're in this beautiful place of acceptance. And so the pineal gland, through our meditation process, can potentially be one of the most incredible parts of our darkness technology, in how it links us into the technology of the darkness, what we can find there. What does the technology of the darkness do to each and every one of us once we enter it? How does it transform us? How does it work us? How does it connect with us? It's a very interesting concept to truly start to play with this idea of what it means. And for all of you listening, please stick around to the end, because I'm going to gift you all with one of my meditations that I've created. It is one of the first meditations I created for the alchemy program, and I'm going to take you into the void. I'm going to take you into the void today. We're going to go there. We're going to go into the darkness. But it's important to remember, as we talk about this Venus and Plutonian energy, when Venus represents beauty and Pluto represents the dark, right? Scorpio energy, going right into the darkness. How do we let those two come into beautiful marriage? How do we marry those two to find the beauty in the darkness? From my own experience, I can tell you that nothing has opened my own intuition, my own gifts, my own understanding of my true potential and power than going into my own shadows, going into my own fears, and going into all of the illusions that I've held about myself. My inner child, to me, may just be the most beautiful part of my darkness. Finding her and reconnecting with her has brought completely new meaning to my life. I have never experienced more purpose, more happiness, deeper connection in everything that I do and everything that I share. And these are the kind of gifts that are waiting for us in our shadows. The very things that we've discarded, the very things that we think we do not want, the very things that we think are not lovable about us, are likely holding our true power. The things that will exalt us, expand us, and take us to new levels that we didn't know are possible here in this life. And yet we run away from it. And I believe that part of the reason is that we are scared of our own power. And when we think about how much we've been programmed to fear the darkness, I believe we have been programmed to fear the darkness, to steer clear of the shadows within us, to stay distracted with all the surface bling that is being thrown in our faces in this reality, so that we simply do not discover that power within us, so that we do not discover that inherent wisdom that trumps all other information that we come across in our waking lives. And with this solar eclipse in Sagittarius coming up in one day, what has eclipsed in your own reality when it comes to your own beliefs in how you have seen the future? Are you willing to let go of the past, of how everything used to be, and are you willing to embrace a future you have not yet experienced? This means it'll be a future that you do not know, a future you have yet to engage with. And there is definitely something scary about that. But truly, when we look at what we've been living through, who really wants to go back and relive that? Who really wants things to stay the same? I don't think any of us really want things to stay the same. So, the other thing that's very interesting about this solar eclipse in Sagittarius is that it is conjuncting the great attractor, which I did a whole video on for you guys a couple of weeks ago. And I now see why I was being pushed to do that particular video, because I don't always talk about all the transits or anything like that. I didn't do a video for the lunar eclipse a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. But this one, when we think about the great attractor is this galactic anomaly that none of us truly understand. And all we know is that it consumes other galaxies in its wake. And it gets pulled into its own darkness. It's not exactly a black hole, but it kind of acts like one. And when we think about this consumption, what is it that consumes you, or that is pulling you into the darkness that you are, let's just say, afraid of being consumed with? So many of us avoid going into this deeper work because we're afraid that we're going to get consumed by it. We're afraid that we may not come out of it at all. We're going to get stuck there. But we don't really know what's on the other side of this great attractor. We don't exactly know how it operates. And that's the beauty of it. And there's something that's very alluring about the dark. There's something very attractive about it. When we think about attraction, that is exactly what feminine energy is. It is about attracting other energy towards it. It is not about going after it. That is a masculine energy. So this calling that we often get deep within our soul, that pulls us in, that wants us to listen, that wants our attention, that is trying to guide us in a direction that we haven't yet truly gone. What if on the other side of the great attractor is a completely transformed experience? We don't know what it is. It could be a portal. It could be a gateway into a completely other new reality. But as the sun is about to be eclipsed, and although many of us will not see it, it's only the lower part of the planet. Some of you in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Antarctica, lower parts of South America, you guys will see it. But as we're getting ready to move into a new shift of the nodes, moving into Taurus and Scorpio, where we are now going to be seeing over the next 18 months a shift in how we value things, how we find the beauty in things, our safety, our security, our resources. All of that's going to stem through a transformation of the Scorpio energy. With the South Node being in Scorpio, it means that we have to transform the ways in which we deal with the dark. And instead of condemning the darkness, instead of blaming the darkness of this planet, how can we embrace it? How can we find the beauty in it? Which can be very, very difficult in very challenging times, in which we are definitely in right now. Absolutely, we are in very challenging times. But we haven't learned everything that we've learned, and we haven't been on this journey. Some of you have been on this journey for decades. You understand the concepts. You've been learning these spiritual teachings for quite a while. Some of you are very new at this, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a good grasp on what's going on. We all learn in different ways and at different speeds. Some of us can have instantaneous knowing. Some of us take longer to understand things. The importance is that everything that you know at this moment is to be utilized in its greatest capacity for transforming the world right now. And that starts first with your world, your internal world. Being okay to settle in, to get comfortable with everything that isn't comfortable. This is a big deal, this Venus-Pluto conjunction that we're already experiencing, because Venus is going to be hovering around Pluto for a very long time. Her transits are usually very quick, but because she's about to go into retrograde on the 19th, she is completely slowed down and is going retrograde just 1 or 2 degrees after her conjunction with Pluto. And then she'll be moving back across that. And then when she finishes her retrograde and stations direct, she's going to be passing Pluto again for a third time. What is your relationship to authority? What is your relationship to commitment? How have you not committed to yourself in the past? What have you been scared of? What have you felt unworthy of? What have you reprioritized in place of your very own self? This is what Capricorn energy is really calling to us right now. And so I see there is a great deal of helping and assisting energies right now coming into the planet that are helping us to transform our relationships with our authority figures, which would be primarily our parents, but also can go into government, other leaders, world leaders, particular leaders in a lot of different places, anything that's of authority in your life. And how do you cultivate new value with that relationship? How do you transform it with new beliefs that we are now finishing off with this solar eclipse, new beliefs and new teachings, new wisdom, to apply it to a future that will enhance and expand your way of living and how you live with purpose moving forward? To me, this is what we're all kind of going through. We're all kind of in that cosmic womb space right now. We're all kind of going through the birthing canal in many ways. We really don't know what's on the other side, but it's a bit of a painful journey. It's not comfortable. There's a lot of pushing and shoving and no, I'm not ready yet. And it's like I said, you have two choices. You can either go on your own terms into the darkness, or you can allow life to push you in. Wait for a crisis. And crisis will come. Crisis will come. That is probably one of the guarantees you can have if you're going to continue to avoid the darkness. So before I play this meditation for all of you, before I take you into the void, I want to just share with you. Let me see here. I am going to share my screen. Okay, so for all of you who are looking for some guidance, I know that some of you don't need this. You are having your own journey. You are equipped with the tools that you need. But for anyone who's out there who may need some help in getting into their journey, I just want to show you that through reconnecting with your inner child can be a very powerful experience. And this course, as you can see, I introduce you to your inner child. We start at the very beginning. Who is the inner child? What is inner child healing? Why do I need to reconnect with my inner child? What is the first mistake that people make with their inner child? And go through all of the childhood trauma, emotional blockages. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to heal. I'm going to take you through healing with the inner child through every chakra. And every chakra, so we go through the root chakra, we go through the basic needs, the shadows, and I take you through the sacral, and so on. This is a very comprehensive course. I've spent a lot of time putting this together because I know how important this is, and I know how much it is needed in this world. I was just speaking to Erica, who was on my podcast last week, and she said that many of you have booked a lot of sessions with her, so I'm so happy to hear that. But inner child work is coming up for a lot of people. And it's because of the subconscious programming, that darkness, the subconscious programming, that we just don't even realize how much it's holding over us, the power that it holds over us. It's really, I've always said it's like when you compare the subconscious to the conscious mind and its total power, the subconscious mind is like olive oil, or is like Popeye on spinach, and the conscious mind is like olive oil. She's got great intentions, but she's no match for Popeye on spinach. And so we have to really truly go in and understand what is within our subconscious. What is holding power over us despite all of our best efforts consciously, despite all of the conscious work that we do in our day-to-day living. And it doesn't mean to say that you can't make leaps forward with your conscious efforts. You absolutely can. But we default to the subconscious programming 95% of the time. And so who wants to do all of that work and then have self-sabotage come in there and like take you out at the knees? That's kind of like how it works in many ways. So for all of you who might be interested, if you're ready to take that journey, that links to the course are down below. And I've decided to also, if there's any of you who want to do this and you feel that you need some one-on-one help, I have also created a bundle with the course and my inner child healing, which is on my website. And you'll save $111 by doing the bundle. And so for anyone who's really kind of wanting to take that big leap, that help is there. That help is there. But for now, why don't we settle in and let me play this meditation for all of you. This is going to kind of set the tone as we go into the solar eclipse energy, as we go into this Venus-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, and open the gateways of 2022, which of course we're having our Pluto return for the US, right? Huge, huge. Only happens every 240, 250 years. So the fact that we are all alive for this and it's the first Pluto return of the US is huge. So let's get cozy. If you've got headphones in, they may help. But otherwise, let's jump into the void and I will be here when we are done. Take a deep breath into your body. And as you breathe into your body, bring awareness to where you are in this current space and time. Feel the air on your skin. With every inhale you take, feel your rib cage expand. Feel the gratitude in the relaxation of your exhale. As you continue to settle into your body and your mind begins to slow down, tune into the beating of your own heart. This primal beat will draw you inward, and as your thoughts begin to fall away, you are tuning into the spirit of creation. as your vibration continues to rise, you hear the gentle voice that has been softly calling for your awareness. It calls you from the depths of your soul and wishes to remind you of a place of stillness. It is time to journey deep within the self, to the silence of the polarities, to journey into the void where the witness within you can emerge. Use the sound of your beating heart to fall away from your reality. Allow the rhythmic sound to lull you away from your body as your consciousness prepares to expand into the infinite. Detaching from the illusion that you are your body, you begin to travel beyond space and time. And in an instant, you are transported into the void, the place of pure potential from where all existence emerges. In this darkness, your sense of self in body is dissolving. You are becoming formless as you realize in this moment you are everything and nothing. The infinite source of life wishes for you to remember your origin, your home, your own infinite power. In the void, you are aware that separation is only an illusion. But you also know that this illusion is not to be judged, for it is the illusion that allows you to depart this space of the unmanifest. The illusion allows you to experience the energy of the infinite in everything manifest. In this place of stillness, you return to the point of singularity, the point which becomes your access to the infinite knowing where all answers to your questions lie. At the very center of this stillness, you are one with all consciousness. It is here where your previously unanswered questions are enlightened. What is it that you need to know at this time? Surrender to the vastness. Allow what needs to come through to you at this time and let it penetrate your awareness. You are perfect exactly as you are. The vibration of acceptance is downloading into your consciousness. You have the knowing that all you need is this now, For it is in this presence you remember your eternal existence. And in this moment, you hear the eternal voice of Spirit speaking through you. I am the divine I am. Follow the path of the heart inward. As you continue along this path, your great destiny is revealed through infinite knowing that can only be found in your heart. The heart is your portal into the void, back to self as always was and will ever be. Be one. Be at peace with who you are, for you are perfect in the space of the void, for it created you. In this darkness, creation is born. Remember this in your own darkness, for you are readying yourself to birth a new part of you from the soul journey of separation back into union. Nothing is pointless. All is divinely orchestrated for your highest good and the good of all. In the end, all is complete. In the end, you are whole. Remember these truths. In the void, you purify and heal the scars of your physical life. Love yourself, for nurtured, you are of service. And at the center of universal love, you are one. In the embrace of the universal mind, your perfection and unlimited potential is a simple fact. You are the united flame of oneness, blinding in its perfection. You are free from the illusions that carry pain and suffering. The vastness has embraced you wholly because you realize you were never separate to begin with. The choice to experience everything the infinite is has always been yours to discover, and most of all, at your own free will. This is the spirit of unconditional love. This experience is always yours to remember. As your consciousness prepares to return back to your body, familiarize yourself with this vibration of pure potential and birth it into your physical experiences. You are now ready to gently leave the space of the void so that you may once again experience what cannot be experienced in the unmanifest. Your newfound awareness allows you to have gratitude for all experiences as it is through you which allows the infinite to explore its very own creations. Coming back into your body, you hear your heartbeat once again. The primal beat will always connect you back into the vast when you need to return. This connection is never lost. You are never lost. What is perceived as the unknown, the uncertain, is simply the catalyst to new discovery. Remember this always, for you are the source of infinite light. Welcome back, everyone. I just realized that some of you said there was a high-pitched sound coming through. I'm just trying to see if I can bring that down. I don't know where that's coming from. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. I don't know why it seems to come up on my podcast. But I hope that you enjoyed that meditation of going into the void. And as I've shown through that meditation, the darkness is simply the catalyst of our own source of light. We are the source of light. And when we go into the darkness, we receive that catalyst to produce even more light, to become more light. And so we can't have more light without going further into the darkness. And as I've always said, it's because the darkness has the ability to hold light. And the darker the light, the darker the darkness, the greater the light quotient it can hold. And this is why it is so important for us to not be afraid of the unknown, to know that it is simply the catalyst to all of our growth through becoming more light. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been such a pleasure. Again, if any of you need any kind of assistance with your own journey, whether it's through inner child work with that course or individual sessions, or perhaps you're looking for something a little bit different, I'm always happy to help in any way that I can, through whether it's coaching or tarot readings or combination. I'm here for you guys. This is my work. This is what I love to do. And honestly, the amount of purpose that I get from helping you guys, I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed to be here in this now moment, to be witness to everything that's going on, to be meeting you guys, to have you here with me. Thank you so much. And next week, I will be back with the podcast. I have Erin Abke coming on to the show for the first time. Really excited about what we're going to be talking about. I think it's going to be foundational. We're going to go into more of what I talked about tonight, but in a different way. And I will be, now that I have finished the Inner Child course, I am free to do more videos. I have been hunkered down. I was working literally 15-hour days at the computer to get this course out for all of you. And I can now come back to life. I had to go into my own little place of darkness, and now I'm resurfacing. So you should see more of me. I will be out there more. And guys, I love you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the solar eclipse. Be interesting to see how this plays out for a lot of us. And I will be back with you